Here it's the Cassius Show on location with some very special guests. Marianas Trench. Could I get an introduction from everybody going down the line?
Hey, I'm Matt.
Awesome.
People call me Johan.
I'm Ian.
I'm Michael.
Awesome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. So, discussing your performance tonight here at K-Days. We're here at the amusement park fair type of thing. Did you guys always go to fairs growing up, if at all? And if so, do you have any experiences about the amusement parks that you could share?
Just with petting zoos.
Petting zoos.
Yeah, that's it.
I once went, I wasn't as a kid though, as a grown up. I got kicked out of one.
The petting zoo?
No, no, I got kicked out of Playland a few years ago. We had been at the me and a friend of mine.
So it was the petting
We had been at the horse track, and then we decided to go into Playland to go on some roller coasters.
Right.
And you know when they take your picture going down the thing, and her and I both kept going like this. Now it doesn't matter if I do that, but she kept doing it also, and then they kept not showing the picture, so we just kept going back on the roller coaster.
That's hilarious.
Because we wanted to just buy a copy of the picture, but instead they just kicked us out.
That's always the best to do a stunt in the photo. Now, let me ask you guys this. Who is the best rider of rides in amusement parks in this band? Does anybody get sick? Can anybody beat the other?
I definitely get motion sickness.
Yeah.
So I'm not I'll bow out of this one.
I used to be like awesome at this stuff, but I have a kid and I just went to Playland, which is the Vancouver one, and went on this thing, Gravitron thing, and I was like, I remember this, and I tell you, I was off for the rest of the day. And before that, I was like, let's do the elevator and all this stuff. But that one, I was like, that's it, I'm done, I'm green. Like, it's funny, I've changed.
I can't spin a lot. I love the scary rides, but if it's spinning a lot, I just can't do it. I feel sick.
The beach party one, like,
I used to love the spinning rides. My sister and I used to do like the horrible zipper one and all those. I used to be fine with all of that. And then do you guys remember like what was that now? Like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Remember when we had to cancel that tour because I had vertigo and I was in the hospital? Ever since that incident, which was not related, which was like related to something wrong with my inner ear or something, but ever since that, now I can't go on spinning rides.
Oh wow!
I always could before that.
How long did that affect you for?
The vertigo thing was like 3 weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks, but it was kind of like, it was before that. And then when we actually tried to like tour through it, it sort of flared up.
I remember
we played half a set out of 6 shows.
We were playing in
New York,
and I remember getting on stage, and like I had already been in the hospital, and they were like, "You'll be fine." And I got there, and I got on stage, and then I was like still feeling pretty spinny, and then all the flashing started from people taking pictures, and I was like, "Oh god,
Yeah,
gonna barf."
Is that one of the pet peeves you guys have? People taking pictures in the audience, or do you not mind normally?
I don't give a
no,
shit.
it's not a big deal.
No, I more have a problem with direct eye contact.
Just
Interviews are tough then, I guess.
yeah, just make sure you're posting flattering ones of me.
Right.
For fuck's sakes.
Yeah, we prefer interviews to be like via a mirror.
Yeah.
We got to set up a new setup in here. Let me ask you guys this. You guys have been performing for a long time, and one of the things I've noticed about you is that you guys really, you just churn out those radio hits. You guys are incredibly talented at that, and you know, that takes a lot of talent to do. So what is the technique? Like, once you guys start making those radio hits, does it become easier, or do you keep having to like work really hard to craft those moments?
I think you're being far too kind in your appraisal of what we do. I would say that the hardest, in my experience, the hardest hit song to write is the first one, because the first one's always a fluke because you don't know how to do it yet.
Also opens the door so you get a chance with the songs after that.
Yes, but I guess what I mean is like in terms of like the way to put together a song like that's set to be like a single or whatever. Like you kind of don't learn how to do that unless you do it. It's hard to explain.
I feel like the more experience we have and the more knowledge you're getting, especially producing and writing, the harder you actually work at that.
Oh, yeah.
Because your microscope becomes more powerful on the things that may or may not work.
And you set your own bar based on what
yeah.
you've already done.
Right. Is that one of the main factors you guys have seen in your evolution as performance artists, or do you see that you've had more evolution in different ways that you've noticed?
I'd say it was just been a steady downhill slope.
Yeah, we're de-evolving.
The artists beating themselves up is a pretty common thing, though. I can relate to that. What is this show like in comparison to the show you guys have been doing? You guys tour all over Canada. I've actually saw you guys in Halifax when I was 12. Fantastic show, of course. Do you guys do a lot of other countries, or do you like to keep it home-based?
Well, this last album cycle, I think we played more in the United States than Canada by quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've been there, and we did 2 tours in Europe on the last album as well. Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to somehow get the opportunity to go to several countries. I don't quite know how it always happens, but somehow we keep finding a demand in other places, and that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys' record label and management is based in Canada, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. Now, you see so many artists outsourcing to different countries. Was it a conscious choice to keep it in Canada? And how do you feel about that decision in relation to the rest?
We've been on U.S. labels as well. I think the difficult thing, you don't need an international label if you're going to just be in one country. But where you do need it is if you're trying to tackle the world or another country. Their Canadian labels only work in Canada. They don't outsource to anywhere else.
And if you do outsource and try to put it together, it's gonna be very fragmented. Like you don't get that homogenized, but synchronized or synergized.
Like the milk.
Yeah, like milk. Yeah, you don't get an equal, efficient worldwide thing. I guess in our experience. So.
Right, makes sense. Do you guys prefer to write with outside influences, or do you prefer to keep it within the band when you're making an album?
Well, I think we've never written with outside sources. Like you mean with other writers?
Yeah.
It's always been within the band.
Oh, nice. Okay. Now, was that a conscious choice?
I would take outside opinion if
The right one.
Yeah, if the right
idea came along or something, or if I don't know, if a friend of mine that was a great songwriter was like, "Hey man, I've got this chorus. What do you think?" or something like that, I would be like, "Cool, let's see what we can do." But it's just never happened.
Okay, interesting. You guys have often kept it really balanced with the pop and the rock sound. You guys have a really, really nice blend of that. What can fans expect moving forward on possibly a future project? Are you going to lean more towards one side or the other, or keep it more like both? Bluegrass.
Tons of bluegrass.
Nice.
Electric pirate funk is really what we're at.
That's my new favorite genre.
Yeah.
We've heard it's an up-and-coming genre, so you're on the front edge of that too.
That's right. We're cutting edge.
I think we sort of continue to reinvent every album, and I think that if you want to have a long career, that's very important to do. And it's also from a writing standpoint and from the band standpoint, it's certainly more inspiring for us to do something different each time around rather than just do the same thing over and over. This current record that we're working on now, I don't really know how to describe it as of yet, but it feels very whereas our last album was kind of like this, had a 80s throwback quality to it. This definitely does not feel like that. It feels like very current and dare I say progressive even, except we're still just using all organic instruments. So I mean everyone's using synths and Ableton Live to make the vocal chops and all that stuff, and we're still arriving at some of those tricks except doing it from a real musician place.
Right. Very cool. Sounds exciting for fans for sure. In closing,
Yeah.
you guys satisfied?
Yeah. I agree.
Good answer.
Finding a way to sound current while playing the way we want.
Well,
to.
actually playing instruments.
Right.
Crazy.
Is it hard to decide who speaks when you go up at award shows? Is there a conversation beforehand?
No.
No, the trick is we never win anything.
Is that your trick?
I think the one time we won something,
Yeah.
I had a cue card full of thank you people we needed to thank, and so I just talked.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know.
And I purposely, excuse me, that's so rude. I'm eating with my mouth open.
Fans will like it.
And that time you're talking about
Just doesn't know new material.
you're talking about the Junos, right? The like, group of the award.
Yeah.
I was so convinced that we were not going to win anything that night, even though we were like playing and they gave us 2 songs. I mean, in hindsight, maybe I should have prepared something, but I was just so convinced that we wouldn't win anything that I didn't prepare a single thing to say. And then when we won that, it was like one of the big awards. We got up there and I was like,
I got nothing.
oh, fuck. And I remember seeing Matt pulling out some list, and I was like, you
It
go.
was even long enough that they started to play the Play It Off music.
Did they?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Nice.
He was there, yeah.
Sweet.
I think that's a good milestone to hit. I want to be played off one day.
He did a good job, though. He thanked everybody that we needed to thank, so it was good.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Marianas Trench, thank you guys so much. You're making Canada proud. You guys are kicking ass out here, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our pleasure.
Thanks so much.